AnyList can provide a calendar view for any entity record that includes a date attribute. In this video, I'll explain the use of the calendar view and demonstrate its configuration options. Let's start with some background on the calendar view. So in order for an entity to be compatible with calendar view, there are some requirements in terms of the attributes that need to be made available. So you'll notice here that I have a custom entity called Blue Bin Pickup Time. And you'll notice on this record that I have a start time being specified. So at a minimum, a start time is required in order for calendar view to work. If only a start time is provided, then an event is considered to be an all-day event by default. Additionally, as we are doing here, you can provide for an end time attribute on your entity or on your record, and that will restrict it to being a certain length of time. So since my Blue Bin Pickup Time entity has both of these attributes, it's going to be compatible with the Entity List calendar view feature. So let's come over to my entity list. You'll notice that I've prepared it with the name, Blue Bin Pickup Calendar, and the entity name and view have already been selected. So all I need to do to enable calendar view is to scroll down to the calendar view section. You'll notice that I've already mapped the start time and end time attributes. And so at this point, I can click enabled and save my entity list record. Now over here on the portal, currently my entity list is resting on the default interface, which is just listing out the records one at a time. If I refresh my portal, then you'll notice I now have a dynamic calendar view with records being rendered out as times and dates on the calendar. And so here is the Pickup Time 2 record that is in the CRM, occurring on the appropriate time and date. And I expand that out for a little bit more detailed time display here. Now let's jump to Dynamic CRM and dig into the Entity List calendar view configuration options. So as you can see on the calendar view that the events are being displayed on the calendar at the appropriate dates, with times being displayed as well. I also have the capability to switch between year, month, and week views using this upper right-hand selection here. So if I can switch it to year view, you'll notice a number of events occurs at the appropriate month. I can also drill into the month from this view to enter into month view. And from month view, I can drill into a specific week as well. So then I can look at next week or this week and view the events as appropriate for that time. Switch back to month view for now. I also have the capability to stretch an event across multiple days by setting the end time on the record as more than a day later than the start time. So I'll just switch this Pickup Time 2 so that it stretches across more than 24 hours. So I'll just specify that it takes place the next day at 8 p.m. So I'll just make sure that that change is saved and refresh my portal. And as you can see, the event now stretches across 2 days. Next up, we have some different configuration options for rendering out the display of information on individual records. In addition to start time and end time, which are necessary for the calendar view to work, you also specify a summary field name as well as a description field name to be displayed on the map. So summary is going to be basically the title, as you can see, Pickup 1, Pickup 3, Pickup Time 2 of the events, whereas the description is for a more detailed description of the individual event. We can also specify an organizer, which is going to be a related contact, as well as a location for the event. And finally, if the record has an is-all-day attribute, which is essentially going to be a Boolean attribute on the record, then you can specify an event as being an all-day event so that you don't have to require a specific start time and end time for that event. In terms of other configuration options for the UI, Notice that I have the capability to choose an initial view. By default, it's month. So if I were to switch it to year, week, or day, it would change the level of the calendar upon first loading up, although I would be able to zoom out or drill in as appropriate. I also have the ability to set an initial date, and I also have the ability to configure the time zone that's going to be displayed in the user's browser. So the default is for it to render according to the user's local time zone, but you can also select for it to display according to a specific time zone, selecting the time zone here from this drop-down. And as you can see, you can select any kind of time zone, which may be appropriate in the case that these are events taking place at a physical location. In terms of display styles, you'll notice that over here on the right-hand side, my calendar is rendering out as a full screen layout calendar. I have also the capability to have it appear alongside a list of records. So over here at the style setting, you'll notice that it's currently set to full calendar. I can switch that to event list and save my changes. And then if I refresh my portal, now you'll notice that I have my calendar view over here on the side, and next to that I have actual details about each record in the list. As with a normal entity list view, I also have the capability to set up a details page. So that's done the same way as it is for a normal entity list, allowing me to click in to view the details of events on my calendar. So here I just have a read-only entity form rendering out the details of that event. Finally, I also have the capability to export the calendar as an iCalendar appointment. So if I click this download button up here at the upper right-hand side, then that will export this calendar as an iCalendar ICS file. So I just open that up. That will add the appointment to Outlook. So you'll notice here that in my Outlook calendar, I have pickup time 2 being listed with the appropriate start time and end time being displayed in Outlook. Use Entity List Calendar View to quickly configure date-oriented records for viewing in a familiar calendar layout. Check out our other Entity List videos at our Learning Center at community.adxstudio.com.